Welcome to the Living Alone podcast, where we help you reclaim your confidence and energy through taking control of your wellness. I'm Paige Hope.
And I'm Tracy Vallejos. Join us for quick chats on wellness, personal growth, hormone regulation, and more. And welcome back to another episode of Living Alone. Now, I have to tell you, this is a fourth one in a 4-part series. Okay, so it's the last one because this month is about breast cancer awareness. And there's a lot of awareness around breast cancer. But we wanted to be able to help and educate, right? And even help prevent. But most importantly, educate to take action.
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 Key word.
That is always my big thing, is I want you to not be overwhelmed and be able to take action. So, Paige, this one is about the kitchen. All right? And what are some of the things that perhaps we can upgrade the kitchen? But before we go there, I want to share a statistic in case you are just tuning in for the first time. For myself, like I said, on the other episodes, I have been educating about breast cancer awareness for a long time. But when I learned that 86% of breast cancer was tied to environmental toxins, I was like, whoa, what's that? Like, what? And then I understood what environmental toxins were and are, right? And all these chemicals, and that I could crowd them out to help protect myself. There's no guarantee. So because of that, I wanted to be able to start putting education out there so that you are able to then take action. So please go back into the last 3 episodes. We give many different tips, but today is about the kitchen. We're in our kitchen and eating and all kinds of things every single day. Right? Mm-hmm. And so these are going to be some really quick and easy, I believe, swaps that we can make. But Paige,
Correct.
What do you think? Where should we start? What should we do here?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm like, if you haven't listened to the rest of the episodes, I highly recommend, because we do this in scooches. And the last time we were sitting with Tracy and she talked us through her whole journey of healing her thyroid naturally. And she went through phases. She fixed her food first. Then she went into beauty. Then she went into her kitchen. And we wanted to release these to actually help you guys start crowding out and adding the good in. And so it's this 4-part series really just shows you the roadmap to your journey into living a life with more energy and confidence. Yes. So I think to kick this off, we're in the kitchen every day. I honestly want to know quick 4 to 5 things that we should start with. And what's funny is because you started with food first and you went into beauty and kitchen, I'm sure you have a lot of good tips on what things we should be swapping out.
Yes.
And education, because there's so much information out there about this stuff specifically.
Correct. And I just want to pause it can be overwhelming. But what I want to say is it's not all or nothing. I'm going to say it again. It's not all or nothing.
And you've heard her say this a million times. We just want to get it in your head.
I always say it. Like if you've been listening to this, then you've heard me say it. If this is the first time, don't feel like, well, I guess it just doesn't matter. I can only do those 2 things. No. One thing this week, one thing the next, or one thing this week and one thing next month. It doesn't matter.
That's why it's a journey, right? Sharing this 4-part series, starting with one thing.
Yes.
One little, then beauty, right? The category, one thing, one category, and then going from there. So number one, Tracy, talk to us about this.
Yeah. My biggest thing was Teflon, cooking every day. Once I really understood, right, all those forever chemicals, those chemicals and things that are...
Okay, pause. What is a forever chemical, Tracy?
Oh boy. Those chemicals are especially in like Teflon, whatever. And they call them forever chemicals because those chemicals like forever stay there and they get into your body and they're going to cause a disruption. I mean, talk about toxic overload, because you were talking about toxic overload last time. That is exactly what is happening. So we're not thinking about those chemicals in the pan, right? It's nonstick. Well, what do you think? Those chemicals that are in there, when things heat, we all seen a fire before, right? And if you're from a distance, you can kind of see that it's hot, right? You can see the heat coming off of it. Those are fumes, correct? Mm-hmm. Those fumes have toxins. You are now cooking your food directly on super high heat and absorbing all of that every single time you do it. So I remember thinking to myself, oh, well, gosh, I mean, I guess I could do one of my frying pans this week, right? I mean, literally, that was it. I mean, I really couldn't go get the whole set. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I was like,
what one did you choose?
So I remember like Googling like non-toxic, comfort, like all these different things. And I ended up going with green pan. So just like the color green pan. Literally, I'm going to be honest with you. I remember going to TJ Maxx and I go, oh, they've got green pan here. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get one pan this week.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's the pan. And then I started like, now I've got the set, but it took me a while. But I remember like every time then when I'm cooking my food, I am smiling because I am so happy that I was educated and that I was able to do that. Like, I'm like going, oh goodness, thank goodness. I'm so glad to know this. Like, I know it sounds silly, but I like light up. So if there was anything that you could do, because like I said, we could go into the science, we can go into all kinds of things here. And I'm sure this, all makes sense to you, but start even with a frying pan.
Okay, I love it. That's easy. Number 2, give us another one.
All right.
What do we have?
All right. So another one for me was plastics. Oh boy. And I think if you are anything like, just Google microplastics. Like the science and clinicals and different things coming out now. They're doing autopsies on people. They're like seeing it in the brain.
I know.
The heart. Gosh, see, I know.
I know, me too. I was just telling Tracy before this. I was like, Tracy, you're not going to believe this, but I used to go get that rotisserie chicken from Costco with the plastics all around it. And those plastics were just seeping into that chicken. I had no idea. I'm living my best life eating that rotisserie chicken. And then all of the science starts coming out about microplastics.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how sad I was that I could not go get that. Like, truly.
Yes. That's what people understand. Just what you said. A lot of people heat up food in plastic. They put it in the microwave. It is heating. It is getting absorbed into the food. You are now ingesting that food. What about the plastic water bottles? This was my biggest thing. When I then learned and watched a video of how they like take this hot plastic and they put it into forms, and like so imagine when they're creating the plastic water bottle, right? It's hot. And now this little bit of plastic then forms the bottle. Now they're putting the water in and they're sealing it. That all of those fumes and the hot is getting absorbed into the water. And I was like, I lived on bottled water. I was like, okay, I'm going to go out and buy a bottle that I can carry with me.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say, for those of you that meal prep and do all of that, and you're still putting your stuff in plastic containers, it's such an easy swap. You can get glass from Amazon. That's personally where I would start, and that is actually where I started. I threw out all my plastic Tupperware and all of that, oh my goodness. And just swapped to glass. That's such an easy one. What is a third swap? I feel like I know what you're going to say.
Oh, I know I'm looking at her. I am going to go with aluminum foil.
I was literally just going to say, you're going to say aluminum foil.
Because I was always like, let's say I bake something in the oven, right? Well, I'm going to put aluminum foil down that pan. I don't have to be, scraping that pan. I want to be able to cook it on that aluminum foil so that I could take it off and be easy cleanup. Let's keep this flipping real right now, or on the grill, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so when I was like, wait a second, like heavy metals, like it's literally getting absorbed into my food. I then started using parchment paper. Now, I do get the non-chlorine, again, so it isn't being out.
Okay, Tracy, what's even easier than parchment paper for me is you can just go to Amazon and literally type in non-toxic sheet pan cover, something along those lines. It's something that you put on. I can't even tell you what it's called, I'll be honest with you. But I remember when I was going through my journey, that was one of the first things I swapped to was, oh, cool, I can just buy all of these things for my pans. And honestly, parchment paper to me, it's just so much effort.
Yes.
You got to keep buying it, whereas these you can put into the wash.
Oh, I love this.
So.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to upgrade that next.
Love.
I love that. So thank you for sharing. Because I've been doing my parchment paper. But again, it's an easy swap to be able to have.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay. It is. Now, do you have a swap? Like, listen, I'm looking at Paige now because I'm like going, ooh, I got a good little swap there. I'm looking at her going, oh, do you have a swap?
Well, I'm like, okay, well, now for me, when I think of kitchen, I think of also cleaning, right?
Yeah.
So, you guys, I've always been a germaphobe. All right. We won't get into it. And I just had this thing where I used to be a hand sanitizer girly. I used to be this Lysol wipe. Oh, the chemicals I was eroding my body with. Oh my goodness. So for me, I was like, well, I'm wiping things down all the time. I got to get rid of these Lysol wipes. And I'm telling you, if you're inhaling that strong Lysol smell and you like can't breathe sometimes, that's also a good indicator that, that's a little harmful on your body. So I actually got rid of all of my bad cleaning supplies for both kitchen and bathroom. And I switched to a brand that I really love called Branch Basics. Yes. Now, you can't get these at a regular store, unfortunately. However, they last forever. And so I would recommend doing some sort of brand like Branch Basics for cleaning. And I want to stress this because you're in your kitchen all the time. And I don't have kids personally, but if you have kids and you're constantly wiping things down with Lysol wipes and hand sanitizer and they're touching it, then putting it in their mouth. Like, people just don't understand how harmful that can be. And that is the quickest and easiest one. You're only switching out 5 right now, you guys. This is so great.
This is easy.
Easy peasy.
So let's say you have the like we've said it before, you have the wipes. Use the wipes, right? You're probably going to go through them in the next month or so and then upgrade. Okay? Maybe this week you spend the money on, some inexpensive glass containers. So I like to reiterate this all the time. If there's scooches, use up what you have. It goes pretty quickly, and then upgrade to the next, right? I really, 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 really love that because it took a little bit for me to be able to upgrade some of my cleaning products. And I mean, obviously I did. I love Branch Basics as well. They really do last and they work. And now if I smell anything else, it does start making me really sick and nauseous because I've been able to get some of those chemicals out of my body. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I walk down the aisle now at a store and when I take in those fumes, I start getting lightheaded. And I'm like, see, you realize you desensitized your body before. You were so overloaded.
Yes.
Now that you're not and your body smells, now you see it makes you almost nauseous. So I want to mention that's pretty amazing. People have said that to me.
And that leads me, so great segue, Tracy, to getting rid of the candles that you have in your house. That is a really quick swap. And honestly, you don't really even need to swap anything out if you don't want. You can get a diffuser, of course. But you know what? That's one of the things where you can just get rid of it. You don't necessarily need to swap it out for anything unless you love a good smell, then definitely essential oils are fantastic. Yep. Sometimes, honestly, I put something on the stove. You get a little bit of cinnamon there, orange. You can just give that scent that you want naturally and really easy. So just take out the plugins, all right? Get rid of the candles, and that should do it for today's episode.
Yes. So those are just easy things that you can do. So Paige, it kind of wraps up our 4-part series. I believe in helping now educating what are endocrine disruptors, what are the small scooches that I can make. And I just want to end with, as we said last episode and gone, these are just small promises to yourself. Use up what you have. The next time you go replace it, just know that you are worthy to be able to replace it with something else. So what we want to know is, what is that promise to yourself, right? Keeping that promise to yourself. What is that one upgrade? Tag us. We're going to put it here in the show notes. And we want to hear from you. What is it that you want to hear next? What is it that we can help you with so that you can become that energetic, confident self?